What is up, guys? It's your boy Rick. Breaking news, Cacus here, and today we've got some brand spanking new Destiny 2 news, courtesy of the Bungie weekly update that has just gone live, revealing official information. And so, let's get started. But just before we do, really quickly, I'm sure you've heard me talk about Advanced GG, the best darn energy drink out there, but if you wanted to try it, now's your chance. There's a starter kit that's available for 50% off. You get a shaker, 4 different flavors, only $10, and if you use code KHD, it's another 10% off on top of the 50%. Great way to try out Advanced GG if you've never before. Everyone who tries it says they love it. All right, now let's get started with the first thing, a little bit unrelated to the TWAB, and that is there was actually a hotfix that went live today for Destiny 2. So here are the biggest gameplay changing elements that you need to know about. Firstly, involving the Throne World, they've temporarily disabled deep sight tier 3 chests that were being opened way too often, and that is going to limit, firstly, the deep sight reputation farm. I did put out a video on that, and also the funnel web farm is really no longer available. Perhaps someone will discover a new alternate chest farming route, but it's going to be nowhere near efficient as the other ones were. So that is unfortunate if you weren't quite there yet in terms of getting a funnel web and also leveling up your Throne World, but definitely that's something to know. Now moving on from there, in terms of abilities, they fixed an issue where Titans could basically generate infinite orbs of power by entering and exiting their sparrows, so thankfully that glitch is fixed, especially in time for the world's first raid. Moving on from there, in terms of weapons, one of the main ones is that Grave Robber, the perk, has now been re-enabled for glaives and properly works. And obviously, getting melee kills with a glaive is pretty darn easy, and then constantly reloading your magazine, that's definitely a top tier perk for the glaive you may want to craft onto it. And here are the rest of the weapon changes. You're going to see a lot of kind of minor changes. For example, the Palmyra B rocket launcher has missing or incorrect stats and all of that stuff. That's great. But something definitely to know is that they're adjusting the weights on legendary weapons available from Banshee the Gunsmith so that you have a higher chance to get the newer world drop weapons before the older ones, which is definitely fantastic. Now moving on from there was also quite a few armor changes that you can see here. Mainly the brand new Loreley Splendor Titan exotic helmet will now create a sunspot when casting a barricade, and they say it will still grant a sunspot when critically wounded, but will now require and will consume a charged class ability cooldown. So this helmet was like S+ tier, everyone was freaking out about it, and now everyone's saying it's F tier. Maybe it's not exactly that bad, but still a pretty substantial nerf to that new helmet. Now, another big change is that overload rounds finally work properly. So previously, if you had the auto rifle / SMG overload rounds mod on, you could stun overload champions, but when they got back up and you kept shooting them, they would just heal right in front of you. So now shooting them continuously will prevent healing like it was supposed to. That's definitely going to make solo lost sectors easier. And another big change is actually an insane one. So they say they fixed an issue where the reduced damage debuff from the Renewal Grasps exotic was only briefly applied. So guys, I actually did a video on this yesterday going over just how insane your dust field grenades can get with the combination of the Renewal Grasps Hunter exotic and the Touch of Winter stasis aspect. You literally have dust field grenades the size of a small moon. It is actually insane, but previously you would get only 5 seconds of a debuff when inside. Honestly, these exotics are so powerful, I kind of thought that might have been intended, but now you're gonna get constant damage resistance while inside. Guys, that build I posted yesterday literally just got buffed today, and it was already nuts. And the last thing, guys, the exotic ship from last season that no one got, it drops now. So literally just go to the helm and interact with the war table and you'll just get that exotic ship. So go and do that. But let's move on from the patch and talk about the new information revealed within the TWAB. So first things first, Bungie actually detailed a lot of need-to-know info about the upcoming Witch Queen raid going live this Saturday, so only in a couple of days. So first things first, it's actually going to go live on March 5th, Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific. Guys, importantly, that is 1 hour after reset for whatever reason, and then the raid race, the 24-hour period, will end at the following 10 a.m. Pacific on March 6th. So keep that like kind of hour difference from resets in mind. Now, something else is also going to start at 10 a.m. Pacific, March 5th, and that's my live stream. I'm live streaming right here on YouTube from the second the raid goes live until whenever I beat it, and then I'm disappearing to go make the guide. So if you want to tune in for that, just show up to the YouTube channel, and definitely it'll be a ton of fun. Now, importantly, contest mode will be enabled for the entirety of those 24 hours. And that means everyone's power will be treated as 20 below the power level of each encounter for those 24 hours. So what that means is that your artifact power will matter, and your power will matter up until you reach 1530. So if you are 1530, and again, if you're only 1525 gear score and then your artifact bumps you up to 1530, you are good for the entirety of those 24 hours. Like, that's the most you can achieve in terms of your light level. Only after those 24 hours will your overall light level, if you're above 1530, actually matter. But something else you absolutely want to know when preparing for the day one raid, Bungie actually released a list of all of the things they're disabling for this 24-hour span. So don't level this stuff up, like you're not going to be able to use it in your world's first raid builds. So in terms of weapons, the Aikilos SMG is disabled. The Imperial Needle is disabled. The Grand Overture Exotic Machine Gun is disabled. And I think all three of those accidentally got the exotic primary buff, so they deal 40% more damage against red bars, just so you know. And then also the Wardcliff Coil Exotic Rocket Launcher was a bit bugged. That is disabled as well. Now, in terms of armor and mods, the Worm God Caress Titan Exotic Gauntlets, those are disabled. Man, those are disabled for like 50% of this game's lifespan, I swear. The Paragon Greaves Exotic Titan Legs, those are disabled. And they did disable the Suppressing Glaive Artifact Armor mod. Again, I made a video saying that this build could cause problems in the world first. I was absolutely right. So there are actually other things you can use to trigger this stuff. In fact, specifically going into what I showed in the build, the tractor cannon, every single kill turns you invisible, so perhaps you can still have a version of that build going into the raid, but again, that Suppressing Glaive mod, you can't use it. And they actually say more things may end up being disabled, so just keep an eye on the Bungie Help Twitter page just in case. Now, if you are the first team to complete all the encounters, loot the final chest, and go to orbit, then you'll be awarded with this awesome raid belt. And if you do beat this new Vow of the Disciple raid, by the way, that's what the raid is called, Vow of the Disciple, in that first 24-hour span, this is the day one emblem, as you can see. Additionally, if you beat the raid by March 15th at 10 a.m. Pacific and place your order before March 31st, you can get these swanky raid jackets. And of course, there's going to be a brand new seasonal pin, and here's kind of a placeholder, and a seal pin, as you can see. Outside of the race, if you do beat the raid at all, this is going to be your reward emblem. So definitely there's like a theme here, like a prism theme. We've seen this in the day one and now this emblem and on the raid jacket, perhaps like wanting you to have all elements present or saying that darkness is a route to light. There's definitely something going on here with the prisms. But moving on from there, Bungie talks about some of the upcoming fixes hitting Destiny 2. Firstly, with Wellspring weapon drop rates. There's a patch that's targeted for next Thursday, so 1 week from now, and they're going to be increasing the drop chances for both the standard and the Deep Sight Resonance versions of those weapons. Also for Ascendant alloys. Bungie is going to be increasing the chances for those to drop again in like those Wellspring Master completions and based on your score. So you can actually get gold tier, platinum tier by killing all the champions, of course. And so like a platinum tier, a completion of Wellspring on the higher difficulty will get you a much higher chance to get those Ascendant alloys. And then Gambit. Now, a lot of the changes to Gambit admittedly were quite good, but the 5 immunity boss phase, if he gets healed, is just too much for a lot of players, and frankly, a lot of people, including myself, are having less fun in Gambit than they did before. So here is the feedback that Bungie has been receiving about Gambit. They don't have, any fixes right on the way, especially not for like next week, but they are aware of these issues, and hopefully they can get those fixed. Now moving on from there, Prime Gaming is getting a new bundle featuring the Hard Light, as you can see. And the last thing we're going to talk about is kind of an interesting one. So the Steam Deck has released. It's essentially Steam's version of a handheld system where you can access your Steam library. However, it's not vibing too well with Destiny 2 right now. And basically, Bungie kind of released a statement today saying that because they partner with BattlEye and they're following their recommendations, because the Steam Deck uses the Linux operating system, it is potentially going to compromise their anti-cheat security system. So therefore they say Steam Deck is not a supported platform for Destiny 2, and you should not try to play Destiny 2 on a Steam Deck or do a workaround or whatever. Hopefully this changes in the future, because there's a lot of excitement around the Steam Deck. But again, just so we don't get a bunch of people cheating on the Steam Deck, apparently that is their response to that. Guys, that is it for the video. I hope you enjoyed and found this informative. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That is linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.